Hello and welcome back. This is the video about how to take that frequency table that we just made and make a histogram out of it. So actually making the histogram, not hard. Making it look good, like if you were going to use it in an assignment or something, that takes a little bit of extra work, and I'll show you all that. But just the basics to make the histogram. You could do it with either the frequencies, right? Not including the totals here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to label these totals and make them bold just for fun, right? Just so we know that we're going to make our graph using these, not the total, right? So you can make a histogram with the frequencies or the relative frequencies. It doesn't matter. Because remember, the frequency is just the height of the bar, and the graph will look exactly the same, except for the axis, except for the labels on the vertical axis. So maybe we'll do both just to compare. All right, so it's actually super easy to make a histogram. So what you want to do is you want to select the data. I wouldn't select, this is not really a name, it's just frequency. So I'd select the data. Go over here to insert, and then here you got these charts, right? So as you can see, if you click this one, that's histogram. Now look what it did. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, why would it do that? Why would it make two bar? Like, how useful is that? It's not useful at all. And that's always happens with Excel and histograms. Like, I cannot get it to make histograms right. So what we do is we do a workaround. So instead of doing the histogram, we do the bar chart. Now, I'm barely starting to remember like which of these means which, right? And I get like annoyed sometimes. So sometimes I get really lazy and I'll just click recommended chart. And then the clustered column is actually the one that we want. But if I don't see the one that I want, I just click all charts, and then I get to see a list of the names. And for me, I like that better. But we do want the clustered column chart, is what they're calling it in Excel for whatever reason. Not this crazy one, this one. So if you click on it, that's selected. So let's go back over here. If you just click on it right here, it'll do it, right? So now this is very basic. First of all, it looks more like a bar chart than a histogram, so we got to do some stuff to fix that. Also, the labels down here, not good, right? Reading this as it is not quite what we want, because notice here, this one that's labeled 1 has a height of 9, right? So we are actually saying that there are 9 numbers between, right? 9 numbers that have a value either 0 or 1, and this isn't really quite saying that. So we will fix that too. Let me see. I might have to make this. Did that? Yeah. Okay. I might need some room over here. Okay. So first of all, I mean, if you're doing this just for your own, like if you were making this and then you were going to write about it and you didn't have to use the graph, that's okay. But always give your graphs titles, especially if you're going to turn them in an assignment. So I would say something like grams of sugar in breakfast cereals, right? And notice how I'm typing, you can see it up here, but nothing's happening. Once I hit enter, it pops up here. Okay. Now, I also would encourage you to label the axes. So I'm going to add axis titles. So notice how if you click on your graph, there's this plus sign right here. And if you click on that, there's a bunch of stuff you can add. I think you can get to that same stuff over here by add chart element. That's all also over here, but usually I'm right here anyway. So I'm going to click axis titles. Notice it gives a space for both the horizontal axis and the vertical axis. Makes your graph a little bit smaller, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. I know that the vertical axis is frequency, so I'm just going to label that frequency. Is that spell it right? Yeah. And actually, oftentimes with a histogram, we don't want a title down here. So what if I just like got rid of it? I just actually hit delete and it disappeared. Because the title of is all we need. That makes sense? Like, let me. I mean, you could put it down there, but right, it would be the same thing. It'd be grams of sugar. So because it's a histogram, we know, right, that the grams of sugar, if the title is good, we know that the bars are going to be measuring grams of sugar and that the height is the frequency. Of course, you could put a title there. Okay, but now we don't want there to be space between the bars. So how do we fix that? So if you, now this is on a computer, if you're using a mobile device or a Chromebook, I have to say things might be a little bit different. So hopefully it's not too hard to figure out how to use it. Now, if you need help, definitely, come to office hours. You can contact me. Maybe the tutoring center can help. Maybe we could figure out how to do some of this stuff. And of course, if you're using something like Google Sheets or something else, it might look a little bit different. Excel's my favorite. It's not perfect, but I really like it. Okay, so notice I'm going to click on one of these bars, and you see how like kind of like it gives these little things. I don't know, like, I don't know what the point of that is, but like it's kind of like highlighting. But what you want to do is double click on a bar, and it's going to open this interactive panel here. And notice this gap width. So I am going to drag this gap width all the way to 0. And look at that, right? We have a histogram. Now, I actually would not leave it like that. I do not like that, because notice how when you click on it and you have selected, it gives these like lines so you can like see where one bar ends and one begins. But if you click out, then that's gone. It just looks like a big swath of color. I don't like that. So I usually actually put the gap width at around 2%, and that way you can still see. It's a very small gap, so it still looks like a histogram, but it gives you an outline of the bars. I like that better. I don't like to see just all blue, one color. Now you do have, if you click on this little paintbrush looking thing, it has different styles that you could do, right? Like, interesting, right? And so when you change style, you have to go back and figure, mess with everything. But I'm just going to leave it in the standard style. Okay. You could also, if you wanted, add data labels that'll give you the frequency at the top of each bar. That's kind of nice. Okay, I'm actually going to take that away for now, just so it doesn't interfere. All right, so now we're looking like a histogram. The only problem is this axis. We do not want that. So the way to fix that is very irritating, because I don't think, oh, what if you click, look, text axis. What if I click on that? Then can I like actually like write in here? Oh, I guess not. I don't know. Text direction, vertical alignment, text direction could be this way. Ooh, look at that. But what I want to do is, can I type in here? No, it's not letting me. Okay. So let me go back to here. All right, so let me show you what you have to do. This is what I think you have to do. I wasn't able to find any other way to do this. So what you've got to do is you have to create the labels that you want. Okay, so I'm going to take the frequency, I'm going to copy it, I'm going to put it over here in a new thing, and then I'm going to make another column called classes, and I want to name my classes here. So I would name the classes this. Okay, so this is the part of the reason this is happening, because we used a bar chart tool to make a histogram. If you can get the histogram tool to work and give you a lovely chart that looks this good, feel free. I have never been able to do it. So what I have to do is I'm just going to type in negative 0.5 through 1.5. That's the first class. What did I type equals? Oh, I didn't know. Don't type equals. I didn't want it to calculate it. I want it to tell me. Why did it again? Get rid of the equals. I don't want equals. I want it to be text. Oh my gosh, it's like not listening. So I think I need to change it to text. And then if I get rid of the equals, there we go. Okay, yeah. And I want it to be centered, just because I like that. All right. All right, now I want them all to be like that. We'll have to see. Now my next class is 1.5 to 3.5. 1.5 dash 3.5. Oh, good, it's listening. And then 3.5 dash 5.5. Okay, oops. 5.5 dash 7.5. Oh, I put a 0 instead of a friggin' decimal point, okay? And then 7.5 dash 9.5. Hey, keep doing it. It's annoying. By the way, another keyboard shortcut is if you're in a cell, notice how like if I want to edit what's in there, you have to kind of go over here and then put your cursor there and edit. But one way you can do that right here is without having to go over there. If you press F2, it'll bring the cursor right into the field, the cell on your screen. I like that because I'm always wanting to edit stuff without having to go over here and click. Okay, so then 9.5 dash 11.5 and 11.5 dash 13.5 and 13.5 dash 15.5. Okay. Hey, what happened to my frequencies? Oh, I see. Yeah, because notice how like it tried to copy the formula here. Okay, so I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to grab these guys. I'm going to copy, and then over here, I'm going to right click and I'm going to tell it to paste just the values. So now this is just the number. It's not doing the same formula that this is doing. All right. So now I'm going to make this graph again, right? We should be like, well, wait a minute. Didn't we already do it? Yeah, we're going to do it again. So now I'm going to select both of these columns and I'm going to go to insert, cluster bar chart. And looky there. So now I have a chart that actually has the labels on the bars that I want. Okay, so now I got to do some of this over again. So let's see. I'm going to put the same title here. What happened? I didn't want that. I want to select this text and put that text there. Okay. I also want to do axis titles, and I want to put frequency here. FREQUENCY. All right, and this one I want to get rid of, so I'm going to select it and hit delete, and it goes away. All right, so now I'm gonna delete this one. I'm just gonna select it and hit delete, and there it goes. Okay, it's over here. So now I'm going to double click on a bar, and that opens my dialog box over here. Wait, what happened? So notice how when I click off a bar, whatever I've selected is the toolbar that shows up. So I want toolbars related to the bars. So when I click on a bar, that comes back. If I click on this, it says format chart title, right? So whatever you select, it's going to try and format. So I want to format the data series, the stuff that's in the bars. So I'm going to go gap. Usually it's easier just to drag it to 0 and then use the up arrow. Is that good enough? That's good enough too. Sometimes 1 works, but sometimes I find that, oh, see, like right here, for some reason that gap isn't showing right here, and I don't have any I do Y, so we go to 2 and then you see a little gap. So it's not really a gap. I think of it more like an outline, because I haven't found any like style that I like better that shows the outlines. Okay, so now this you're kind of done, right? Grams of sugar in breakfast cereals. In this one, you have, right? However, you have 9. There are 9 cereals that have between 0.5 and 1.5 grams of sugar. So now, because we've seen the data, we know that that means that either 0 and 1 grams, right? I don't mean to imply that the data has been measured up to 1, to the precision of 0.5, and that actually might happen if you were, like if you saw this frequency table out of context, like if it were just like in a magazine or something, without knowing what the data was, that might be confusing, right? So like you don't have to do it this way where you make your class limits out to 1 more decimal place than your data is. You don't have to do it this way, but if you don't do it this way, then you need to clarify. Like if this class width had been 0 to 1, and this one had been 1 to 3, right? You would have to specify somehow like which bar contains the 1 gram of sugar cereals. Is it this bar or is it the second bar? And you just have to say that. You say, okay, the upper limit belongs to the bar to the left. And that is perfectly fine. Okay, what else do I want to say here? Okay, there's one more fun thing I want to show you. So for our the names of our classes, right? They're pretty small. They each one pretty much fits under the bar. But if you had numbers that were out to more decimal places or just bigger numbers, they might not all fit nicely under the bar and be able to see them. So this cool thing you can do is you can rotate the labels. Let me show you how to do that. I can never remember, but I think I remember. I can never remember, but I think I remember. So click on the actual numbers down here. Then up here, so you have these different options. This is axis options, that's size and property. I think it's right here. So if you have this highlighted and you click on this one, custom angle here. So if you go, it says enter a value anywhere from -90 to 90. So if you go up, notice how you can see it's rotating the labels so they're like slanty. And this can be very helpful if you've got labels that are quite long and they don't fit this way, you can slant them up. If you prefer to go the other way, you can go down and it'll slant them that way. I kind of like that way better. Just cause I don't know, I think it's because we read left to right. So there's a 45-degree angle, there's a 51-degree angle, right? However you want to do it. Just for fun. That can be helpful sometimes, depending. So there's a histogram. I feel like I've decided that maybe I'm going to put down here grams of sugar. I don't know why. And up here, put frequency back. Just because I feel like I really wanted a label on the axis. So what can we see on this histogram? All right, I'll make it a little bit bigger. All right, so we can see that the mode of the data set is between 1.5 and 3.5. So between 2 and 3, most of the breakfast cereals had 2 to 3 grams of sugar per serving, right? There were 16 out of the 77 we had. We have the rest of it was kind of uniform. We had these two groups that were small. There were some that had only 6 grams and then was this 5 grams. So it was kind of small. And the others all hover right around 8, right? 8, 11, 9, 10. So we get an idea of the distribution of the number of grams of sugar in all these different breakfast cereals, right? Most of them are having 2, some of them having many more. I'm going to put the data labels back just for fun. Why didn't? Oh, well, looky there. That's weird. Why did it do it? Oh, I put data table. That's why. Well, that's kind of cool. So it's giving the frequencies in a table, but I didn't want that. I actually wanted data labels at the top of the bar. I really like that because it helps my eyeballs. You know, it's kind of hard. Okay, so hopefully these 2 videos make it much more clear than the other videos were. Some of his videos are good, but those particular ones I thought needed some help. Okay, so take a look at these, and then, of course, let me know if you have any questions.